Hey Freedom Lovers, this is Dr. Peterson Pierre with America's Frontline Doctors bringing you today's Daily Dose. So according to the World Health Organization, yes, you know that trustworthy three-letter organization, just over 1.8 million COVID deaths were reported in 2020, the first year of the Great Scare before the shots were rolled out. A year earlier, over 1 million people died worldwide due to a common bacteria, but no one suggested locking people in their homes or jabbing them with experimental potions. However, that may be about to change. In 2022, The Lancet published an article on a, quote, urgent global public health priority, end quote, describing research partially funded by, you guessed it, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation into 33 different types of bacteria that threaten people's health worldwide. Apparently, these 33 pathogens are responsible for 13.6% of all global deaths, and the real villain of the 33 is Staph aureus, which is the most deadly of them all, killing around 1 million people every year. While the research mentioned the importance of interventions such as health education, addressing malnutrition, improving hygiene and sanitation, and providing access to antibiotics, the article also stressed a need to develop vaccines to combat common bacteria. Researchers have been attempting to design an effective vaccine against staph infections for over 25 years with no success. Around 14 different vaccine prototypes have been developed, tested, and retired in frustration. Millions of dollars have been spent on fruitless pursuits. Now, however, a researcher from the University of California, San Diego, thinks he may have cracked the problem and that a safe and effective Staph aureus vaccine is finally on the way. Dr. George Liu's work is featured in a JAMA article published on August 2nd of this year. Unlike the article in The Lancet, this article begins from a position that the world needs a staph vaccine. But why would the world need a staph vaccine when there are effective antibiotics for every single one of the 33 most dangerous pathogens The Lancet researched? The answer in a nutshell is that the mainstream medical research community thinks that our immune systems are inherently defective. Therefore, scientists must step into the breach and save mankind from deadly pathogens. Let's take a deeper dive into the murky waters of scientific hubris, which is, make no mistake, that's what this is, and see what we find. So JAMA's article starts out by describing a number of failed attempts at developing a staph vaccine. In 2011, Merck had to call a halt to its clinical trials after data showed participants in the trial who developed the staph infection were more likely to die if they had received the vaccine than if they had gotten the placebo shot. Sound familiar? Clearly not safe. In 2012, Pfizer decided to test its own staph vaccine prototype. Within a few years, it became clear that, once again, a staph vaccine had failed. Serum data showed that although patients who had received it developed antibodies to staph, they contracted the infection at the same rate as the placebo group. Clearly not effective. Although staph sounds crazy, around 50% of children and 30% of adults are colonized with it and never even realize it. For the most part, it stays in the nose, on the skin, or in the gastrointestinal tract and doesn't get any further. Problems generally start only if we get a deep cut or undergo surgery when the bacteria can enter the bloodstream. According to Dr. Liu, Staph aureus has learned to hack the immune system, getting around our natural defenses and warping natural immunity in such a way that instead of eliminating staph from our bodies when we encounter it, we allow it to hang around, which can turn out badly. While it is precisely this faulty immune response, as JAMA describes it, that enables us to coexist with Staph aureus, quote, it also undermines vaccination, end quote. Calling the original immune response faulty and the vaccine-induced response protective is clearly an incredible distortion of the truth. Science has yet to produce one vaccine that is actually safe and effective. Yet our immune system has kept mankind alive for, last I checked, millennia. Vaccinating only makes sense if you believe that Staph aureus is close to 100% fatal if it ever gets into your bloodstream. That is to say, the human immune system, as God designed it, let's not forget that, is incapable of dealing with a bacterial infection, which is why it's vital that scientists intervene to save the day. While Staph aureus can be fatal once in the bloodstream, most people do survive, 65% of them in fact. That's even though around 50% of staph strains found in hospitals are resistant to multiple antibiotics. Dr. Liu does not suggest any possible drawbacks to injecting babies with staph vaccines, even though the article describes vaccine-induced multi-organ failure in the Merck trial. Very few people know enough to weigh the risks and benefits and make an educated decision regarding this vaccine. And how should they be expected to do so when even Dr. Chris Montgomery, a huge vaccine fan, admits, quote, if we don't know what is truly protective in humans, then everything that we are doing in preclinical models is just guessing. Informed guessing, but guessing nonetheless, end quote. So we're supposed to risk our lives on a guess regarding an infection that kills a very small portion of the population? They really think we're this dumb. Please let's prove them otherwise. Ladies and gentlemen, only the truth will set you free. Stay tuned for the next Daily Dose.